Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel, Living Wisdom and Dharma World. Today, we'll delve into one of the most profound teachings in human history, the Four Noble Truths, as taught by Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. It is one of the core teachings of the Buddha, the cornerstone of Buddhism. These timeless truths offer profound, universal insights into the human experience, the nature of suffering, and the path to liberation. Whether you're a seasoned practitioner or just someone looking for clarity in today's chaotic world, the Four Noble Truths have something timeless to offer. The wisdom of these teachings can resonate deeply. Let's journey together into their meaning, purpose, and relevance in our modern lives. Part 1. The context. When and why the Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths. Let's begin with a bit of history. Around 2,500 years ago, in ancient India, Siddhartha Gautama was a prince sheltered from the harsh realities of life. One day, he ventured beyond the palace and encountered what are now known as the four sights: a sick person, an old person, a corpse, and a wandering ascetic. These sights awakened him to the realities of impermanence and suffering. Determined to understand the nature of suffering, Siddhartha left his privileged life, became a wandering seeker, and ultimately attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree in Bodhgaya. After his awakening, he gave his first sermon in a deer park at Sarnath to 5 of his former companions. This sermon, called the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, or Setting the Wheel of Dharma in Motion, was where he introduced the Four Noble Truths. The Buddha's purpose was clear: to provide a roadmap for liberation from suffering, accessible to anyone, regardless of status, belief, or background. Part 2. The Four Noble Truths. The first noble truth, dukkha, the truth of suffering. The first noble truth is dukkha, often translated as suffering. But let's unpack this. The Buddha wasn't saying that life is only suffering. Instead, he taught that life, as we experience it, includes dissatisfaction, unease, and discomfort. Dukkha comes in many forms, often mentioned as the 8 sufferings in our life: the pain of birth, aging, illness, and death; the frustration when we don't get what we want; separation from the beloved and association with the unloved; the subtle discontent, even when life seems good; or the 5 aggregates of clinging. This refers to the suffering inherent in clinging to the components of existence: form, sensation, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. These aggregates are impermanent, and attachment to them leads to ongoing dissatisfaction. For example, clinging to one's identity or appearance, only to face changes that challenge those attachments. The Buddha used the metaphor of a wheel slightly off its axle. Life moves, but there's always some wobble. Think about it. Have you ever longed for a promotion at work, believing it would bring lasting happiness, only to feel restless again after achieving it? That's dukkha. Imagine Sarah, a young professional. She works tirelessly for a big promotion, believing it will solve her problems. She gets the promotion, feels elated, but soon the stress of new responsibilities weighs her down. The cycle continues: seeking, achieving, and still feeling unfulfilled. Again, consider the joy of buying a new phone. At first, it's exciting, but eventually, the excitement fades. Maybe it breaks, or a newer model comes out, and dissatisfaction creeps in. That's dukkha. The Buddha wasn't being pessimistic. Recognizing dukkha doesn't mean despairing. Instead, it means becoming aware of this pattern in our lives. Through awareness, he wanted us to see life clearly, to acknowledge its challenges so we can address them. The Buddha emphasized these 8 sufferings to encourage practitioners to 1. Recognize the pervasive nature of dukkha in existence. 2. Develop detachment from fleeting pleasures. 3. Cultivate the wisdom to navigate life's challenges with equanimity. 4. Commit to the Eightfold Path to transcend suffering and attain liberation, nirvana. By understanding and internalizing these truths, one can break free from the cycle of suffering and find true peace. The second noble truth, samudaya, the cause of suffering. So, what causes dukkha? The Buddha taught that craving, or tanha, is the root cause. This craving, tanha, isn't just about material things. It's our deep, habitual tendency to cling to pleasure, avoid pain, attachment to ideas, relationships, or even the desire to avoid discomfort or resist the reality of impermanence. This craving is fueled by 3 poisons. 1. Greed, the desire for more. 2. Hatred, the aversion to what we dislike. 3. Delusion, our inability to see things as they are. The Buddha often used the image of a fire to describe craving. Just as a fire consumes fuel endlessly, craving consumes our energy, leaving us restless and dissatisfied. Think of binge watching TV after a stressful day. It might feel comforting at first, but after hours of mindless watching, you're left feeling unfulfilled, even more tired, and maybe guilty. This cycle of seeking comfort but never finding lasting peace is tanha at work. In modern life, we're surrounded by messages that encourage craving. Advertisements tell us we need the latest gadgets, perfect bodies, or ideal relationships to be happy. This constant craving leads to stress, anxiety, and unhappiness. Let's return to Sarah. Not only is she stressed about her new job, but she also craves validation from others. She constantly checks social media for likes on her posts, equating external validation with self-worth. This craving for approval keeps her trapped in dissatisfaction. Recognizing craving doesn't mean suppressing desires, but understanding their impermanent nature. The third noble truth, nirodha, the cessation of suffering. The third noble truth offers hope. Nirodha, the cessation of suffering. There is a way to end suffering. The Buddha taught that by letting go of craving and attachment, we can experience nirodha, or cessation, a state of peace and liberation. This is nirvana, a state of profound freedom from the cycles of desire and aversion. This isn't about giving up everything. It's about cultivating contentment and freedom from attachment. The Buddha described nirvana as the extinguishing of a flame. It's not annihilation, but the quenching of the fires of craving, hatred, and delusion. In modern terms, this means finding joy in the present moment without clinging to outcomes. It's about living with gratitude and equanimity. Let's return to our binge-watching example. What if, instead of numbing yourself, you paused and reflected on your feelings? Maybe you journal or take a mindful walk. By addressing the root of your stress, you find peace without needing to escape. Sarah begins to practice mindfulness. Instead of scrolling on social media for validation, she spends time journaling her thoughts. She learns to appreciate her achievements without comparing herself to others. Slowly, she feels lighter, freer, and more at peace. This truth reminds us that freedom is possible, even amidst life's challenges. The cessation of suffering isn't an abstract concept, it's something we can glimpse in moments of contentment and clarity. The fourth noble truth, magga, the path to the end of suffering. Finally, the Buddha offered the Eightfold Path, a practical guide to end suffering. Think of it as an 8-step program for a balanced and meaningful life, a practical guide to liberation. Think of it as a compass with 8 directions. Let's break it down. 1. Right view, understanding the 4 noble truths and seeing life clearly. 2. Right intention, committing to compassion, kindness, and letting go of harmful desires. 3. Right speech, speaking truthfully and kindly. 4. Right action, living ethically and avoiding harm to others. 5. Right livelihood, earning a living in a way that doesn't harm others. 6. Right effort, cultivating positive habits and letting go of unwholesome ones. 7. Right mindfulness, being fully present in the moment. 8. Right concentration, deepening focus through meditation. The Buddha himself followed this path, balancing meditation with ethical actions and teaching others. His life was a testament to the transformative power of the Eightfold Path. Sarah, a stressed-out professional, adopts the Eightfold Path in her daily life. She practices right mindfulness by starting each day with meditation, focusing on her breath. She practices mindfulness during her morning coffee, applies right speech by communicating with kindness in her workplace interactions, and sets boundaries to prioritize meaningful tasks like self-care and fulfilling her work responsibility. Over time, her life transforms. She feels more grounded and content, not because her external circumstances such as her job changed, but because her perspective did. Her inner world becomes more harmonious. Conclusion: the timeless relevance of the 4 Noble Truths. The 4 Noble Truths are not just ancient philosophy, they're practical, timeless, and universally applicable. They're a roadmap to living a more intentional, peaceful life. In our fast-paced modern world, where stress and distraction often dominate, these teachings remind us to pause, reflect, and reconnect with what truly matters. The Buddha's first sermon was a compassionate call to action, a reminder that while suffering is part of life, liberation is possible for all. Challenge: this week, reflect on the 4 Noble Truths. Take one step. Notice moments of dissatisfaction and trace them to their roots. Maybe practice mindfulness, letting go of a craving, or reflecting on how you define happiness, even if it's just in small ways. Small changes lead to profound transformation. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found value in this teaching, please share it with others who might benefit. And if you'd like to dive deeper, don't forget to subscribe for more explorations into mindfulness and wisdom. Until next time, may you find peace and freedom in each moment. See you in the next video.